Before you watch this episode of our cityCURRENT radio show, I want to invite you to join cityCURRENT's e-learning and online personal development platform called GrowthCurrent. I'm Jeremy Park, host of the cityCURRENT radio show and CEO of cityCURRENT. GrowthCurrent is your exclusive ticket to attend virtual events with global thought leaders, national guest speakers, and experts who can help you grow personally and professionally. It gives you access to success secrets, lessons learned, learning modules, and so much more. Being online, you can join us from anywhere in the world. Subscriptions are only $8 a month, or you can do bulk subscriptions for your team. Check out growthcurrent.com to learn more and to join us in our efforts to power the good. And now, on to the show. Welcome to the cityCURRENT radio show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, powering the good in our community. And we're going to kick it off talking about powering the good with cityCURRENT. So how cool is this? We have our Nashville Market President, Kelly Meyers. And Kelly, let's start. How are you doing?
I am great. Really looking forward to the new year and kind of excited to look back and recap all that we've done in 2020. I cannot believe that it's already the end of 2020.
Absolutely. So it's a rare treat to have you on the show talking about just everything we're doing in Nashville and Middle Tennessee. And as you mentioned, you did a end of the year presentation and kind of laid out 2020 and kind of looked ahead for 2021. So I figured that's going to be the fun of today, is just having you on talking about all the things that were still accomplished, even though it was a challenging year for 2020. Back it up though a little bit, and we expanded into Nashville, into Middle Tennessee in 2018. Talk a little bit of just over the last couple of years, just your perspective with cityCURRENT, and just talk about the growth and development in Middle Tennessee.
Absolutely. So I'm just so excited to be part of this growth because it's such an exciting time for us. Expanding here in 2018 was just a huge opportunity. Obviously, Nashville is such a growing and vibrant market. But at the end of the day, the one fact remains true. It's relationships that drive business. And that's really what we bring to cityCURRENT and to our partners. And so that, no matter what type of city, how much growth we've seen, you still have to know people in order to do business and do good. And so for us, it's really just continuing to expand, bringing on those new partners, engaging those nonprofits that are here doing really good work. There's been so many new nonprofits that have come on the market in the last few years. And then being able to also push our sleeves up together, do some volunteer work. So it's just been exciting to see the growth here. And then the partners' excitement when you get to meet the new partners. Here in Nashville, it's fun because every time you bring a new partner, it's new people to meet. They're connected to a nonprofit that I might not have ever been introduced to. So then you get to meet those. And again, it's just that web of relationships that is continuing to grow here. That's so unique and so much fun.
I know how I talk about cityCURRENT and our mission to power the good, but how do you talk about cityCURRENT in Middle Tennessee? So describe cityCURRENT for everyone who hasn't heard of cityCURRENT yet.
Sure. cityCURRENT, our mission is to power the good. And we do that in really three main ways. First and foremost, it's in business relationships. So creating meaningful relationships across business, government, nonprofit, and even education. So breaking those silos down, bringing people together. And then we also do that through our philanthropy. So our partners are very philanthropic. They serve on boards, they give financially, but we also create events for volunteerism. So it's our job to create the event, bring everybody together, push up our sleeves, go arm in arm. And like you've always said for years, those are the things that build the trust in our community. And those things are so important. And then lastly, being able to celebrate them through our media channels. I think it's so much more realistic and so much more authentic when we are the ones that are kind of tooting their horn. It's not them saying, oh, look at all the great work we're doing. It's us saying, look at our partners, how amazing they are. Look at the work that they're doing. Look at the folks that have helped, or look at this nonprofit. Look at this amazing event that they're putting on, and how can we bring people together and also just bring some publicity to those various nonprofits and the activities that they're doing. So that's really what cityCURRENT's all about. I always say I'm in the relationship business, but I'm not a dating service. So that's really what we do every day.
Well, and it is an honor. And I do want to say a shout out to Cumulus Media in Nashville for allowing us to have the cityCURRENT radio show on all 5 of the stations. I mean, that's a huge honor and responsibility. And to be able to spotlight, as you mentioned, the nonprofits and the businesses and individuals and, all those who are out doing good, who need the awareness to be raised for their efforts, but also just need more engagement. And that engagement can be physical with the volunteerism, but also obviously with the financial giving. But it's so important to raise the level of awareness for the good that's going on in our own community. And so to be able to have the radio show is a huge honor, and obviously working through you and Eileen there. And so I would encourage anyone who's doing good to reach out to you and to Eileen, and let's get them on the show so we can highlight their efforts. And one of the neat things coming up is we are working on a TV show and some other opportunities to really do even more to showcase the good that's going on and those that are serving as a spark in the community. Share a little bit of, when you talk about 2020, let's start there. Share some of your favorite moments for 2020.
So 2020 was a very interesting year. And I will say it started off on a huge high for us in Nashville. One of our partners, Barton, who's our law firm, hosted our January breakfast. It was the best event we had ever thrown here. It was so well attended. It was phenomenal. And so we started off with so much momentum and so much energy. And then the tornado hit Nashville, which was so unfortunate. And it really derailed our March event. And then, of course, here comes COVID. And so, human nature, it's really easy to just throw your hands up, get into a rut and say, we're done. What else are we going to do? We're an events company, we're media, we have meetings all the time, and we're not able to do that. But I'm so proud of our cityCURRENT team, of our partners, for literally just allowing us to move from in-person to virtual and doing it with energy, people trying to make the best of what we have. And that's been really the thing all year. I think our first real virtual event, I was a nervous wreck, but Alex Benayan did such an amazing job. We couldn't have picked a better speaker. Everyone had such a great time. It was a great message. And we pulled it off. And then it's like from then that momentum comes back. You're starting to know, hey, we can do this. And I think too, it took some time for people to realize that this just wasn't a month, we're just going to have to do this as a Band-Aid. When it became apparent that this was going to be for the foreseeable future, people really pulled together and gave us a lot of grace, but also a lot of encouragement, and still participated. And then, of course, now being virtual, you can reach so many more people than we could when it was just an in-person event. So that was so much fun. I mean, we did some virtual happy hours. It just, the things that people did to kind of create relationship, even though we were apart, was so inspiring, and it really gave me a lot of encouragement moving forward. And we were able to bring on 6 new partners this year, which is just a huge feather in our cap to say that even in the midst of all of this, we still have people that want to join arms with us and empower the good in Nashville.
And to your point, anytime a new partner joins on, these are corporations, corporate partners, their money, basically their partnership allows us to underwrite the efforts of everything we do. So having more partners allows us to power the good in even greater ways. And so it really is one of those where having new partners opens up the floodgates to be able to do even more good, everything that we're talking about, which is extremely exciting in terms of building something special for Middle Tennessee. And I agree. I mean, I think when you look back, the shift to virtual events, we definitely learned a tremendous amount, but it was really amazing to see just the outpouring of support, the engagement, the speakers, the connectivity, all of these things that really did galvanize us and help us grow. And obviously we're still growing together through them. But I think it was definitely a big lesson learned. And even like this radio show, where normally we'd be in person, now we're producing it through Zoom. And it's amazing to see how much the technology has evolved to allow us to really have great audio and video and do so much with this technology. So it's really brought new opportunities. What would you say is a lesson that you specifically learned through this pandemic that you think is going to make you stronger?
Well, definitely, it's just the use of technology. It kind of forced my hand to jump in and learn it and get more comfortable with it. I think lesson learned, we've had a couple little scary moments in live events where you're thinking, is this really going to happen? And somehow we've made it happen, but definitely make sure you wear good deodorant before a virtual event, because you might be sweating if things don't go your way.
Yeah, we definitely have some good, like inside jokes now. That's for sure, in terms of all these, these things that have happened, these roller coaster rides. You, on your end, were still able to pull off the volunteerism, the give back, the philanthropic efforts. And I think that's extremely important for the heart of what we do as cityCURRENT, but obviously to be able to make a difference. Talk about some of those give back moments there for Middle Tennessee.
Absolutely. And I will say, as a salesperson, I love bringing on new partners and I love the business aspect, but my heart, if I could just work with our nonprofit partners every day, I just absolutely love it. And so I was just determined that we had to do something this year to give back, and unfortunately we couldn't all be in a room together and do the things like we would traditionally do. So we did two separate, more virtual events. So the first thing we did benefited United Way of Greater Nashville and their partners, which is kind of a 5-county region across Middle Tennessee. And it was their Give Thanks Thanksgiving basket programs where people could just go online and just donate money to buy a basket virtually or put the basket together. They were provided a very specific shopping list. They had to put a little gift card in there for the family to go buy some perishables and literally put it in a tote, drop it off so it could be very socially distant. One of our partners stepped up and agreed to be the drop-off point. So Dominion Payroll, thank you so much for that. And so we were able to feed 12 families an entire Thanksgiving dinner with the baskets that were donated. And then secondly, Eric Jackson, who is president of Element 47, which is one of our new partners, is on the board at Dismas House. And I'd heard of them, but was not very familiar with what they did. And they work with men who are coming out of incarceration. They live at Dismas House, and it's a place for them to gain job skills, employment, and they live there for a pretty extended period of time. But they were in need of winter gear, coats, hats, socks, all those types of things. So again, something that put the word out. Dominion, again, acted as our drop-off point. So people were able to drop off boxes of socks, lightly used coats. And then Eric and I were able to take those over to Dismas House and deliver them. And they were thrilled. I think we had 4 huge totes full of gear for them. So again, if you get creative, you can make things happen. The best thing about this year that I think all of us have learned is be creative, don't give up. Because if you want to make it work, you can find a way.
Yeah, and I think too, it's been humbling across the board for everyone. For those where you think you're under control and you have it under control, you realize, no, you don't have any control over most of this stuff. And share from a business leader standpoint, because you do have the opportunity to engage with all of these CEOs and business owners. Share a little bit of just their view about the year and looking ahead, and what's it like kind of sitting in it together as a group of CEOs and business owners going through this together, trying to lean on each other and at the same time still create opportunities and find a way to keep things moving. So what's that been like in terms of the brain trust side of the partners and those you have a chance to get to know?
For people that are partners, the magic really happens behind the doors of cityCURRENT when we're all working together. And it was our very first Zoom call back in March where we did a group. And I said during that call, I said, guys, it's going to be these relationships that get us through this, no matter what. And 100% true. I think there is every single partner. I've had so many one-on-one meetings, interviews, phone calls, and it's kind of been a roller coaster for all of us. There's been moments where people are like, I don't even know if I'm going to make payroll next month, to, oh my gosh, I got some new clients. And through the year, really it's been those relationships where we've encouraged each other when they needed it, celebrated victories, really were there for them when things were not going well. And I can say by last week, at our end of the year kind of celebration that we like to have, so many people, we sent an email out. We said, hey, send us some information. We want to celebrate wins that people have had, tons of them. People were, not only were they just looking on the bright side and being positive, but we had one partner that had 25% growth and added 10 new employees this year, when back in March and April, they weren't sure they were going to make payroll. Stuff like that. We had people that have hit goal, have had the biggest year they've ever had. And even for the partners that were off from what they projected, most of them, I will say, they're profitable by just a little tiny bit, but they're doing it because, again, they're willing to adapt. They lean on each other. They ask for help. It's just such an amazing, as a leader, to have these other leaders to link arms with, it's invaluable to me. Yeah. And I'm forever grateful that they stood by us as an organization through this, when they could have said, look, we just can't do this anymore. And really, truly, by and large, people have stuck it out. And again, once you start bringing on the new partners, the energy's coming back. And so I'm so excited for 2021.
Yeah, and I think that's another valuable lesson in general is the support network, having a strong support network, being able to lean on each other, especially through some trying times. One of the other things that we launched in July is an e-learning and online personal development platform called Growth Current. And it's an opportunity for individuals really around the world for $8 a month and $96 for the year to tap into virtual events with these guest speakers and global thought leaders, tons of learning modules, success secrets. You and I have had a chance to sit down and talk and do some modules where I have a chance to interview you on relationship building and networking and things like that. But give a little perspective from your vantage point about Growth Current.
Well, where cityCURRENT is corporate partners, so they're businesses that are joining and they're exclusive to their category. So we only have one bank, for instance. So it limits our ability to bring on more than a certain number of partners in a market. And again, you have a market, it's Middle Tennessee or it's Memphis. Growth Current is an individual membership. They can be wherever they want to be. I mean, they could be in Kalamazoo, they could be across, the world and still tap into what we're doing. And to me, that's so exciting because, again, it just broadens our scope. It allows our partners to have an audience that we've never been able to give them before. So we're able to provide that for them, but also using them as our experts. I mean, anybody that's gone out and searched on the internet for something, I mean, there's good information out there, but you have to really filter through a lot of maybe not so good information, or you don't really know if it's good information. You don't know who to trust or not. Our partners are so knowledgeable, they're so trustworthy, and I feel so proud of the content that we're able to put out because, I put my name behind. I really believe that these individuals, they walk the talk. They do what they say they're going to do. They're professionals, and I would put our platform up against anybody. I mean, it's such good content, and I'm so excited to see that grow this year, in conjunction with our partners in Memphis and Nashville and now across the world, which is crazy to say, across the world.
Absolutely. Give me one thing you're excited for 2021.
I am excited to bring back live events. I know it's going to happen. I don't care what anybody says. I am so positive about it. We're going to try to go live in Nashville here in January, a hybrid event. Very, very different than our normal, but try to get back together, socially distant, masks, temperature checks, smaller groups. But again, with relationships in business, you can only take virtual so far. You've got to be together. You've got to fellowship. And so I cannot wait to do that again. It's just, that is the lifeblood of what we are. And when you go back to last January and our breakfast that we had that was such a huge success, it was because we were all together and we were able to celebrate together. And then that energy drives you to the next one and the next event. So that's what I'm looking forward to more than anything. And just on the personal side, all of us have had, you've got your balance in your work life and your family, and there's been so many disappointments this year for so many people. And I really feel like the worst is behind us. I really feel like the future is bright. It's going to happen. I have complete faith. And so personally and professionally, I really feel like 2021 is going to end on a high note, and I think start on a high note. I don't think we're going to wake up on New Year's Day and all this is going to go away by any means, but I really think the worst is behind us.
We'll wrap up and talk about contact information. Where does everyone go to learn more about cityCURRENT?
Well, absolutely. So citycurrent.com, always a great place to go. You can always email me, Kelly M at citycurrent.com. Check out our Instagram, our Facebook, LinkedIn is a great place to go as well. So that's one big, huge success for us this year. Our social platforms have exploded. And so that's so much fun. And again, the content all comes from our amazing partners. So, and also please contact us. If there's a positive story, we want to know about it. People are starved for good and positive content. So if there's somebody out there, you work for one of the nonprofits or something good going on, don't hesitate to reach out. We would love to be able to highlight you and be able to share your story.
Well, Kelly Meyers, Nashville Market President for cityCURRENT, thank you for all you and our amazing team do. We greatly appreciate you and the team. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, and thanks for all you do, Jeremy, and looking forward to an amazing 2021.